Oh, Sebastian. Could you come here for a second?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're uncovering the sordid history of Cruel Intentions, from its controversial source material to its 2024 reboot on Amazon Prime.
You know that there are no lines between us, dear brother. That's what makes it so fun.
The 90s. In 1999, film critics were divided over a teen thriller adapted from an unlikely source. A 90s-tastic classic, Cruel Intentions made waves for its hot cast, dark comedic tone, and the revelation that it's based on an 18th century novel.
Anything interesting?
Yes, actually, it's quite intriguing.
Despite mixed reviews at the time, its blend of scandal, betrayal, and high society drama has since captivated audiences and solidified its cult status. The 2024 TV reboot is just the latest in a long string of adaptations, proving that, if there's one thing we can't get enough of, it's rich, backstabbing lovers.
You have quite the reputation.
You haven't completely closed the door on me yet.
The book that shocked Europe. The story was first penned by Pierre Chauderlot de Laclos in his novel titled Les Liaisons Dangereuses.
Would you come and read it after I finish? Tell me if it's all right.
Well, why don't you ask Monsieur de Valmont? He knows what men like to hear.
Known in English as Dangerous Liaisons. Told in epistolary form, Laclos's most famous work tells of aristocrats locked in a diabolical game of seduction and obsession. Marquise de Merteuil and Vicomte de Valmont are two nobles whose mutually beneficial plans to sexually corrupt two young women end up ruining their lives and reputations.
I want the excitement of watching her betray everything that's most important to her. Surely you understand that. I thought betrayal was your favorite word.
No. Cruelty. I always think that has a nobler ring to it.
Laclos's book was released to a public furor in the early 1780s. It's said that Marie Antoinette's copy of the book was bound with a blank cover so no one could identify it. Naturally, its scandalousness only meant that more people wanted to consume it in any form.
You're the only one who can help me.
Do you want me to challenge him to a duel?
Vicomte, for what I have in mind, I need you very much alive.
From scandalous novel to prestigious drama, Dangerous Liaisons may be a literary classic, but its themes of sexual domination and manipulation would be hard to sugarcoat even in the most censored retelling.
Do you think a man can change?
Yes. For the worse.
I think you're as awful as I am.
I am.
Only a few film adaptations were made before the 1980s. One of these was helmed by boundary-pushing French director Roger Vadim, who updated the story to fit 1950s France.
Vous dansez?
Oh non, je ne suis pas en train ce soir.
C'est une raison de plus pour accepter. Je vous promets d'être amusant.
Merteuil and Valmont's sadistic plans gained new life in the mid-1980s. Playwright Christopher Hampton's English-language theatrical adaptation opened on the West End in 1986 and transferred to Broadway the next year. Actress Lindsay Duncan and future Severus Snape actor Alan Rickman were featured in the lead roles.
Hopes and fears, passion and suspense, even if you're in the theater, what more could you ask?
An audience?
Liaisons in Hollywood. After the play reintroduced the story to an English-language audience, it was only natural that a film would come along. In the late 80s, we got two.
Well,
Yes. Love and revenge. Two of your favorites.
Hampton's play was adapted into 1988's Dangerous Liaisons and maintained much of his script. Starring John Malkovich, Glenn Close, and Michelle Pfeiffer, the movie was a hit with critics and audiences alike. It even won 3 Oscars out of a total of 7 nominations.
Win or die.
So you're infallible, are you?
Only a year later, Milos Forman, the Czech director behind Amadeus and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, released his own version titled Valmont. Despite featuring early performances from Colin Firth and Annette Bening, the movie didn't do nearly as well as its award-winning predecessor.
Does that mean you don't love me?
Of course I don't love you.
A modern update. A decade later, Cruel Intentions would retool the story for a modern age. Although set in modern-day New York and played against a hip new soundtrack, it's still a tale as old as time.
You don't stand a chance. Even this is out of your league.
Care to make a wager on that?
The two leads are rewritten as spoiled prep school teens who are every bit as rich, hedonistic, and calculating as ever. Buffy star Sarah Michelle Gellar plays Catherine, who's more cunning and ruthless than any vampire she slayed on the WB. Ryan Phillippe plays Sebastian, the libertine who leaves a trail of discarded lovers in his wake.
Even more treacherous than he is attractive. He has never uttered a single word without some dishonorable intention. Every woman he has successfully pursued has regretted it. Stay away from him.
Phillippe acting alongside his then-fiancé and later wife, Reese Witherspoon, gives many of their scenes a very palpable tension. Selma Blair, Sean Patrick Thomas, and Joshua Jackson help round out the young cast too.
Outstanding.
But don't think this one's not going to cost you.
Just make sure your front door is unlocked.
The discourse. From the start, critics were skeptical. Modern updates of beloved stories can be hit or miss, but the way Cruel Intentions amps up the provocativeness rubbed many the wrong way. Even Buffy the Vampire Slayer creator Joss Whedon took a public swipe at the film despite Gellar's involvement.
God forbid I exude confidence and enjoy sex.
It didn't help that Dangerous Liaisons was so respected. Meanwhile, this update gave the impression of being gratuitous and a vulgar cash grab.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Excuse me?
I'm paying you to give cello lessons, not to pervert my child.
Ironically, that's how a lot of critics felt about the original novel, too. And like the book, Cruel Intentions was just too exciting to look away from. It made a lot of money on a small budget, made bigger stars out of its leads, and its soundtrack is still considered an all-time classic.
I'm impressed.
Well, I'm in love.
Pull me out from inside.
Why it was so different. The teen movies of the late 90s were often cynical Gen X coming-of-age stories, bright rom-coms, or slasher movies.
I have a reputation to uphold.
Oh, but diddling the therapist's daughter's a challenge.
She was overcharging. This is a challenge.
Clearly, this thriller about wealthy sadists using people as game pieces in their romantic conquests borrowed a little from all three, and watching its star-studded young cast revel in being bad was just too enticing for audiences. That's not even to mention the infamous lingering kiss between Gellar and co-star Selma Blair.
And I'll just always hear Selma's mother going to Selma, "Did you have to use so much tongue?" She has very soft lips.
Cruel Intentions demonstrated how the story could survive in the 21st century. Les Liaisons Dangereuses was no longer a story stuck in the past.
Cheers. Tastes good.
Liaisons goes direct to video. Seeing that there might be a chance to make a franchise, writer-director Roger Kumble tried to expand the Cruel Intentions universe into TV.
Here's a prediction. A few weeks of hand-holding and chaste smooching and you'll be so bored and horny you'll mess the whole thing up.
Fox acquired the series, now titled Manchester Prep, before promptly dropping it after only a few episodes were shot. Kumble edited what they had and released Cruel Intentions 2 straight to video.
More SAT vocabulary builders?
For your information, this happens to be my orientation speech.
Who are you orienting?
Please be more stupid.
The sequel explores how Catherine Murtoy, now played by a pre-stardom Amy Adams, and Sebastian Valmont first met and began their vicious cycle of deceit and degradation. It was followed by another straight-to-video sequel, starring Dawson's Creek actor Kerr Smith. They weren't nearly as good as the first movie, but it was clear people wanted more.
I have a proposition for you. I told you, I'm out. Are you telling me you're satisfied?
Sarah Michelle Gellar returns. Over 15 years after the movie was released, Roger Kumble once again attempted to get a TV sequel off the ground. This time, Sarah Michelle Gellar would reprise her role as Catherine Murtoy.
I was able to make all of my amends. Except one. Sebastian. You.
Set in the present day, the pilot sees Catherine confronted by her stepnephew, with her past and her deceiving ways being brought back into the open. Unfortunately, NBC passed on the pilot. Gellar admitted she was somewhat relieved because she was unhappy with the network TV-friendly script.
Imagine if Sebastian could see us now. He'd be laughing his ass off. I guess it's really time to let go of the past.
With the pilot being shelved, Kumble had failed to bring the story to television a second time. But neither he nor the story could be kept down. It was also around this time that Kumble adapted the movie as a stage musical.
I'll give you something you've been obsessing about ever since our parents got married.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Reboot of a reboot. After years of attempts, Cruel Intentions is finally making its small screen debut.
It's about getting what we want. And trust me, I always get what I want.
The new Amazon Prime series follows two step-siblings, seemingly modeled after Catherine and Sebastian, trying to save their reputation at their university. This plot includes seducing the daughter of the US Vice President.
You know what they're not gonna do? Kick the Vice President's daughter's sorority off campus.
She's not even rich, because her dad's on, like, a government salary.
There are more important things than money, Cece.
Since when?
While neither a true sequel nor a remake, the series is clearly inspired by the themes of manipulation and power in the 1999 film adaptation, and, of course, the original novel. In other words, it's a reboot of the reboot. Given how long the original story has survived, it's probably fair to say this won't be the last we hear of Valmont, Murtoy, and their dangerous liaisons.
It's the only time I have ever been controlled by my desire.
Are you watching Cruel Intentions on Prime? Let us know in the comments.
The kind of way a book dives deeper than the movie, a series in a similar way can dive deeper than a movie as well, so maybe there's more detail there to explore.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.